Awesome. We're back. Technology in a Tent, brought to you by Pitme and ArabNet. We have a really special guest today, Sylvia Paul. Someone said you're like a godmother of tech and public relations.
Godmother.
That's kind of a big title. So we're curious to hear some stories about what you've seen and the things you've experienced. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in Germany.
Yeah, we talked about this. I grew up in Germany. You grew up in Germany, but
so I grew up in the 50s in Germany. Saw the effect of World War II. Everything was destroyed. I got my first bicycle. You notice I'm a big bicycle fanatic. When I was 9 years old, and I went over the cobblestone streets in Bremerhaven, and there were army tanks all over the place. So I used to weave in and out among the army tanks, which teaches you how to take risks, right?
My mom tells me stories about after the war, so yeah, that's crazy. And so then, when did you end up here?
Oh, I came back here when I was 10 and a half, and have spent most of my adult life in California.
Okay.
So
then how did you land in the ecosystem, or how did you get your start? You know, tell us some early on stories, like what was going on.
Well, I worked for the president of the entire University of California for 9 years. I was a science writer, and I co-produced a radio show on science. I interviewed scientists all over the world on any topic I wanted to. Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Met some really amazing people, smart people.
Smart, yeah. But if they were too smart, it didn't work out. I met the anthropologist, what was his name, who wrote about the Yanomami tribes in the Amazon. Forget. He has a double name.
I don't know.
And now I can't remember his name. But I met a lot of interesting people. The thing I learned was all the scientists are interviewed were completely passionate about their topic, about their area of study. And that's the same thing that's true for startup founders. They're totally obsessed with what they're doing, have nothing else interest them. So it did prepare me for getting into the tech. After I left the university, I worked for a startup in Berkeley in the mid-'80s, and it was founded by William Randolph Hearst III, who had been a summa cum laude math graduate from Harvard, and started a company to do the first commercial telecom software for the Macintosh. There was no internet. There was no email. And so we did the first program. I came up with the idea of throwing big parties for Will at Comdex. I got John Dvorak there and made a name for a company for software. I only worked there a few years. I became very well known. Was on the board of BMUG, the world's largest computer users group. And my role there was to find speakers, so I got Bill Gates to come and speak, Guy Kawasaki. I actually ended up working with Bill Gates. I ended up working with Steve Jobs when he was at Next, because we ported our program there. I got Esther Dyson to come and speak, and so I got to know all these people and said, hell with it, why should I work for someone else? So I ended up working for myself. I helped, at first I just helped companies get started, like CNET and Ask.com and Wired Magazine.
You talk about them like they're like little two-man
teams. They were
right?
teams.
That's funny.
They were really two-man teams.
There's a 20-story building in Oakland, Ask.com, the Wired Magazine.
Oh, they just have part of the top floor.
Oh, okay. Just the logo on top? But they're big. Come on.
There were 3 people when they started.
3 people?
Yeah.
Wow.
And the founder gave them $50,000, and he said, if you do not have a successful program within a year, forget it.
$50,000.
That was it.
Wow.
Yes.
And so, okay, tell us a little bit, what did you do with these companies? I mean, they obviously didn't become Wired and Ask and multi-million billion dollar
I did wild and crazy. You know, my belief is that none of these products are so great that they're going to, move the world, shake the world. That's my attitude. But my attitude is also that if you want to get in the news, and everyone wants to get in the news, then you've got to make the news yourself. So with Wired Magazine, I did a I met them when I was still working for a software company, Will Hurst. So I invited them to a party I was throwing, and Charlie Jackson was also at the party. He was a venture capitalist then, and I introduced Louis and Jane to him, and I said, Louis and Jane, here's Charlie Jackson. He's got more money than he knows what to do with. And Charlie, here's Louis and Jane. They have more ideas than they know what to do with. You're a match made in heaven.
I need to find one of those guys with more money.
And he was their first promoter, yeah. He gave them a chunk of money.
Awesome.
I also found them employees who work for free, helped them find space and things like that.
I mean, we need all this. So, like, it's funny. Like, you talk about this as it's like, oh, okay, I did this.
Well, I'm connector. I'm a connector,
yes.
like this guy was talking about before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know everyone. I go out of my way to know people.
That's awesome.
And so for my clients, I help them get employees, investors, media. And most of the time, although I call myself a publicist, I don't think publicity is necessarily good or even necessary.
So that's a good point. So can we call publicity even like targeted recon, like where it's publicity maybe with one person, like you're publicizing whatever it is you're working on,
right?
And you're evangelizing or publicizing, like we talked about with Peter, and you're just making a call and saying, hey, I'm publicizing or evangelizing this product, this company, and the person knows or respects your opinion, and so they listen. And so publicity doesn't have to be a letter, an article on the front page of the New York Times. It could be you saying the right thing to the right person at the right time, and then it just kind of...
Yeah, well, usually, actually, reporters call me up, and they go, Sylvia...
Awesome. We have some tea.
Oh, great.
Awesome.
And they go, Sylvia, what's up? Who are you representing?
So who are you representing? Like, what are some of the cooler ones that, I would know about? Anything recently?
You wouldn't know about. Right now, I'm representing a company that's about to launch a new research tool that expands the power of Google. It's for researchers, and it's not advertising linked. And the guy who invented it is the same person who invented the first commercial word processor called WordStar in 1979.
Wow.
And he's 78 years old. He's a genius. He sold the original patent for this process to a very large patent purchasing company we all know about, whose name I can't reveal. But he's added more functionality to it, and next week we're doing a beta launch of it. I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. Yeah. That sounds amazing. So in this case, was it a long relationship that you had with him, or do you?
Yes, I've been working with him for over a year now, and I just met him accidentally through a friend of a friend.
Right.
Who knows his wife.
Hey, you should meet Sylvia. Hey, you should meet Sylvia. And then all of a sudden it's a relationship, and you're actually helping someone launch a product. Right?
But before I did that, I'm getting someone to write his memoir. No one's ever written his memoir. I think this guy should be in the computer history books.
Wow.
I asked John Dvorak to nominate him to be a Computer History Museum Fellow, and we'll find out about that very soon.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so because I've been in the computer industry, since the 60s, when I went to college, I taught myself Fortran and did programming. I majored in poli-sci and went to law school, but one of my classmates was Peter Norton, Symantec, right. And all of us in the 60s, we grew up with computers. You have to become computer literate if you want to stay a viable member of the society.
Totally.
So I have seen the development. I know Gordon Bell. I know all these luminaries, and I've seen them. I remember Bill Gates when he was a kid.
So, quick question. That's an interesting point. Who's the next wave of luminaries? Like, in my eyes, like Jack Dorsey is one, Elon Musk, these guys. But who's your favorite luminary that's right now doing things? Who do you really?
I like Evan Williams.
Evans, yes, of course.
I think he's cool.
Evan, we want you on the show. So if you see this,
I like Matt Mullenweg of WordPress.
WordPress, I'm a big fan. Yep, those are both pretty cool.
I like the Pirate Bay people in Sweden.
Huh, Pirate Bay.
Yeah, they're
heard
the
of it.
hackers. You know, they're the ones who worked with after Napster. In fact, Napster was a client of mine, John Fanning. Yeah, they're the people who believe media content should be free.
Yep. Like Bram, you know Bram? BitTorrent? Yeah, Bram's an interesting character. He was a mentor at Founder Institute, so I know him through there. Adeo, by the way, I think is a luminary visionary, so I'm a big fan. I spent 16 months in the garage with him.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
You know him personally?
No.
But he's, you know, him and Elon were roommates, and I think it just rubbed off on each other because they see the world in a different perspective. So I'm sure you've met a lot of those people that look at the world from a different perspective, like you mentioned. Luminaries, I like that word. So what we do in the show here is called Lessons Through Stories.
Right.
And we have this little board of topics that we like to use. If
Oh,
you
God.
see something that's interesting to you, like a topic, and you can tell a story that you've never told before in public.
Oh, I've told some terrible ones.
No, we want to hear a good one. So if you see one that is interesting, please do. Otherwise, you know, you can pick your own.
Symbiotic. Well, I started a group for women in tech in 1994 called GraceNet, named after Grace Hopper and the Internet.
Yep.
Grace Hopper was the first woman admiral in the U.S. Navy.
Wow.
And she was also the creator of COBOL, compiler, which she hated. She said was not very good, and it's still being used today.
Funny.
And so we had chapters all over the United States, and at that time, most of the ads in high-tech magazines were geared toward young men, boys, and they were really sexist. They'd have a dominatrix, you know, advertising a relational database or whatever.
Sure.
So we got pissed and we said, let's do a campaign to get rid of these sexist ads.
Okay.
And we decided to call it, we decided giving out an award every month. And we called it the Disgraceful Award in Advertising.
Oh, wow.
And we pick a big company like IBM or Microsoft and write a hilarious release, you know, saying like, wouldn't you want to buy this relational database? Because dominatrix uses it, you know, things like that. And we give them an award, and then I call up a reporter.
Did someone show up to receive the
No,
award?
no.
I'm kidding.
This is when I say if you want to get in the news, you make your own news. So
Yes.
this is how you do it. You
Right.
give an award. To give an award is the simplest way most companies and organizations create news. Look at the Grammys and the Emmys and all these stupid Oscars and whatever.
Right.
It's just done to draw attention to the movies, and more people will go to the movies, right?
Yeah.
It works.
In tech, we do the same thing, and you know we have the crunchies. I mean, yeah,
Right.
it's kind of cool to be recognized, but at the same time, I think it's a lot of fluff as well that's created
Yeah.
for hype.
Yeah.
So, but that's again, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong. I'm saying it's good because we use that tactic, and I would call up the chief tech reporter at the Wall Street Journal. I'll say, you've got 24 hours. I'll give you an exclusive if you want to do this story on IBM
Is it
sexist
Raju?
ad. Oh, no, this was like
Okay.
15 years ago, 20 years ago.
Oh.
No, 15. And they would do a front page story on our award. And the company, we got 5 major companies to pull their ads. I mean, like totally. And one company, the guy fired his entire marketing team. He claimed he hadn't seen the ad. That was a dominatrix thing. Infosys.
Wow.
And the article made front page story in Kansas City where his company was based, and he was in hot water. So he fired the whole marketing team and blah, blah, blah. In the meantime, I got on the O'Reilly Show, on NPR's All Things Considered.
Yeah.
And we really did make a difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, while we're doing the campaign. That was fun.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
You got people fired because they were sexist. That's good.
Right.
Perfect. I like
But
that.
you have to do it with a sense of humor.
Yeah, of
You
course.
know, you can't take kind of an
Be too
angry
serious.
point of
Why so
view.
serious?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
be funny.
So just to kind of wrap up, we have this thing that we do on the show. It's called Old Rules, not New Rules.
Mm-hmm.
What's your oldest rule that you live by, and what's the oldest rule that you'd like people to live by when they, interact with you or your friends or people you work with?
Rules?
Rules. Do you have any?
No, I have had all kinds of clients. I mean, murderers and perverts and everything. And, I'm equal opportunity. I really accept people, people come in all shapes and sizes, and I don't judge them,
Very cool.
The only rule is they got to pay me in advance.
In advance?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do a lot of pro bono work. I take one major pro bono client all the time. Like
Wow.
I've had the Electronic Frontier Foundation
Yep.
was a client of mine, the Sierra Club, the Free Software Foundation.
Wow, that's amazing. Anyway, Sylvia, thank you for joining
You're
us.
welcome. Good tea.
This was fun, and I hope you enjoyed it. And we'd love to stay in touch and come up with a crazy idea and break all the rules, because no rules is awesome.
No rules.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Sylvia.
Yeah.
Peace.